The point of the curriculum is to make it culturally relevant, that it's centered on social justice, that it's academically rigorous, and I think those are pretty much the three things that we try to focus on when we write our curriculum. You know, we're not just all about being Mexican. I mean, it's not just about like Mexican people. It's about all people. It's language, it's culture. You know, it's all centered about the question: what does it mean to be American? You know, I think embedded in our curriculum are other groups. Chicano studies is about everybody. It's about people coming together and accepting each other, and moving forward, and getting and getting ahead too. I mean, and achieving the things that everyone else has a right to achieve.
The cultural studies approach doesn't concern itself with truth or falsehood or evaluation or good or better or any of that kind of thing. In religious studies, we are looking at religion as a product of human culture, so we don't do theology. You know, we're not doing insider perspective. We're doing what I guess you would call a more objective perspective, where we look at historical considerations, other cultural considerations. We spend a lot of time emphasizing differences as opposed to sort of glomming everything together as a single thing. We don't privilege one. I mean, we're not explaining culture, say the culture of China, in terms of or from the perspective of American culture or vice versa. I mean, we look at what other cultures say about each other, but we do that, or we try to do that in an equal way so that everybody gets, I mean, each perspective gets its chance.
From each country has a cultural director, you know, so we try to promote through their groups to get them interested in the AA, which in the past has been considered like an umbrella organization. The main thing that we try to do, though, is our objective is to, you know, try to promote integration and cultural awareness among, you know, American nationals as well as the Asian groups. And our main function of doing that is our annual cultural fair that we have. It's hard to get, you know, this message across. It's really needed, I think. Arizona is one of the backward states in terms of cultural awareness. So it's not an easy task.
Mexican American Studies is thousands of years old. The culture, the people. The purpose of the program was to raise the grades, you know, stop the dropout problem, etc. It succeeded. You know, close to 100% of the students graduate from high school. Over 70% go to college. If you know the rates nationwide for Mexican Americans, you would understand that's a highly successful program. It's like they appear to have found the solution to the dropout crisis, you know, to bad education. That is, they taught a relevant education, you know, and it was not limited to or restricted to Mexican Americans. But even if it were, if it solves a problem, if it creates good students and good human beings, what's wrong with that? The point is, all classes are open to everyone.
But you can also look at culture in a deeper way, right? You can look at the idea of values and traditions and history and things of that sort, which I think would be important for all of us to kind of be able to understand about our context where we are. We are in an area that historically has a lot of different cultures, cultural traditions. In one place, there's a lot of history here with native cultures and sometimes called Hispanic, European cultures, sometimes called Indian cultures. At the university level, we talk a lot about what's sometimes referred to as culturally responsive pedagogy. which is really not too much more than just showing the value of lots of different cultural traditions. The history of Arizona, for example, next week we are celebrating the 100th anniversary of statehood in Arizona in 1912. But you can imagine that lots of different cultural traditions look at that date differently. There's celebration on one hand, then on the other hand there may be some sense of loss, some sense that we've not fulfilled our obligations to particular groups of people. I think from early on it's important for people to know where they are and where they came from and what context they're living in, what the different histories are, because history is something that depends on your perspective a lot.
The students here are sort of from the generation of, let's say, third generation from the real, you might say, the traditional autumn people, like in the early 1900s, and a lot of the traditions are no longer practiced. So kind of leaves out the cultural aspect of the history. And so now we're in my history classes. I do bring a lot of the cultural aspects of it. So that's why we feel that it is a reconnection of cultural and also the language. So the generations after the second or third generation has missed out on some of the teachings of the cultural traditions and practices and language, as I mentioned. So it's being revitalized, and from that sense on, that we think that they need to reconnect